Hi, welcome to our daily encounter. Today in First Chronicles chapter 25 and 26, we have the division of duties for those who would uh, render service to the temple of God. We have the musicians, we have also the gatekeepers, those who would be the keepers of the treasure. And so these people would be in charge of taking care of the things in the Lord's house. And as we think about these duties and roles that they played, you really have to be envious of the fact that they were able to have such a wonderful job, to be able to have their sole job to be at the house of the Lord and to serve there, to be there with all the worship going on, all the excitement, to be there as the sacrifices are taking place. What a wonderful, wonderful blessing. Uh, King David recognized this in Psalms 84 when he says, "Better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere." And these people who worked at the temple got to dwell at the temple day after day after day. And so that was a wonderful, wonderful blessing. But we can look forward to a time when we will work in God's temple, but not an earthly temple, but a heavenly temple. In Hebrews chapter 9, the Hebrew writer makes a designation between the earthly tabernacle, or we could also say temple, and the heavenly one. In chapter 9 and verse 1, he says, "Now even the first covenant had regulations of divine worship in the earthly sanctuary." So he mentions the earthly sanctuary there. And then in verse 11 he says, "But when Christ appeared as a high priest of the good things to come, he entered through the greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this creation." And then we go on into verse 23, where it says, "Therefore it was necessary for the copies of the things in the heavens to be cleansed with these, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Christ did not enter a holy place made with hands, a mere copy of the true one, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God for us." And so here the Hebrew writer tells us that this earthly sanctuary, or this earthly temple, was just a copy of the one that is in heaven. And so we walk away with the idea that there is a temple in heaven. But as we proceed through the New Testament and we get into the book of Revelations, we see that those who die in the Lord actually get to serve in this temple. In Revelation chapter 7, we do have the blessed condition of those who die in the Lord. And this is a chapter that we go to where there are a lot of these popular statements, famous statements that talk about how there they will hunger no more, they'll thirst no more, the sun will not beat down on them, God will wipe every tear from their eyes. But one verse is oftentimes overlooked when we think about these things, where it says, "For this reason they are before the throne of God, and they serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne shall spread his tabernacle over them." And so those who have died in the Lord actually get to serve in the heavenly temple. Now, as we think about this, we think about what a wonderful thing it would have been to have served in the earthly temple that was there in Jerusalem, but how much more blessed is it to be able to serve in the heavenly temple? Now, we don't know exactly what the functions are, how the duties are divided up, or even what the duties are there in heaven, but really, it doesn't matter. Just to be there in the temple and to be serving the Lord in his direct presence is a wonderful, wonderful blessing, and one that we can look forward to. But one thing we can also consider is that we don't have to wait until we serve in that heavenly temple to serve the Lord. As a matter of fact, we can serve God today. This very day, we can be doing service to the Lord by, one, serving his temple here on the earth, that is the church, building up the body of the church as we talked about yesterday. But not only that, but just serving others, serving our neighbors, serving the poor, serving those who are sick, uh, visiting those who are in prison. There's a lot of things that we can do to offer up service to our Lord by helping other people out. We just have to come to the Lord and pray to the Lord and ask Him to open up our eyes to what He wants us to do today, that we may serve Him with gladness of heart and with joy. It's a wonderful privilege to serve our God. Sometimes we overlook that. We might see that as just a burden or one more thing on our plate, but no, it's a wonderful, blessed thing to serve God. And we should look forward to opportunities to serve Him in whatever capacity we are able to do so. So these are just some things to think about. I do thank you guys for listening in today. I hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.